Hey guys, welcome to, I guess, a special edition of the RAMZPAUL show. I wasn't planning on streaming tonight. I'm still working through my new schedule. I had eye problems last week. I feel better. Did a stream this week. I did a normal video yesterday, and I was planning to do, a news story video today, top 5 news stories. But obviously, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that I think really changed the dynamic. This is a major event, more than just Charlie, because that's what it represents. I think what's happened over the past couple of days has shown that we are in a war. And when I say war, I'm not saying that figurative. I think a literal war, and our enemies literally want us dead. And we're seeing it. We saw that in Charlotte, and we saw it now with Charlie Kirk. And if you guys are not aware, I'm sure you guys are aware, Charlie Kirk was assassinated today at an event. He was shot with a rifle, it looked like through his neck. And I had no idea. I met a viewer today for lunch. Want to shout out to him. Hi. And I got back and I saw, this Pray for Charlie thing. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? And then I saw the video. It wasn't a close-up video. It was the first video of Charlie Kirk speaking. And you hear a shot. And then Charlie's just like frozen like that. I'm like, my God. And then other videos came out, and I hope for the best, but I've been around guns my whole life, and a rifle shot in the neck. I mean, from what I saw, the amount of blood, I wasn't optimistic. There were a lot of rumors that, oh, he had a pulse and they're getting blood in him and he's stabilized. And I'm like, man, I think he probably died within 5 minutes. And I kind of bounced that off a friend of mine who was a medic in the Army, and I think he had pretty much the same perspective too. So I wasn't optimistic, but I was hoping, maybe, I don't know. I'm not an expert on medical care, maybe, but it just looked really bad. And then it was announced, and I think Trump announced it, that Charlie Kirk indeed was assassinated. And it was shocking, right? And this is America. You expect in America, at least through most of my life, you can say what you want. This is a country built on free speech, and we have dialogue. And you may not like what someone says, but that's okay. You can bring up your own rebuttal to them, or you don't have to listen to them, but you don't have a right to murder them. But we're in a society now where the left thinks that they have a right to murder you if you say things they don't like. And I mean that literally. As we see, it's literal now. It's not figurative. It's literal. They think they have a right to murder you. And a lot of leftists, they were on Blue Sky and elsewhere, they were celebrating this assassination, which is strange, because, Charlie got shot in the neck, and that Ukrainian girl got stabbed in the neck. I just, liberals have necks too, right? Maybe they don't realize that, but they do too. And they should be probably more aware of that, right? Instead of advocating for violence like they're constantly doing. And the media has stirred this up too. And the media for decades have been stirring up anti-white hate. They've been calling Trump Hitler. And, there's a whole debate. Oh, if you could kill Hitler as a baby, would you do so? I always thought that whole debate was horrific. I remember Ted Cruz, oh, you got to. I'm like, oh, that's a horrible thing to say. But because the problem is now you just identify anyone you don't like as Hitler, and that gives you the moral authority to murder them. And so the left has really set the stage for this. And I don't know of any going back. Now, this is an update on the murder. Initially, they arrested a man, and it was shown it was some old boomer, looked like balding boomer. And there are some really angry old leftist boomers, from the hippie generation. I mean, unfortunately, they haven't died off yet. And I thought, well, maybe it's one of them, right? But that guy that they arrested initially or had in custody, they did a clarification that, no, that wasn't him. And I don't know why they had that guy in handcuffs. I'm not going to show his photo because part of the issue here is we're still learning things. I don't want to misidentify someone. And this guy, he may have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time and someone accused him, and he could be just a regular guy. And so he got but the police handcuffed him, and I guess I haven't heard they charged him. And another theory is maybe he was an accomplice or he was involved some way. I mean, that could be too. But immediately after that happened, they announced that no, that guy wasn't. He wasn't the shooter, and the shooter was still at large. And that worried me because you have some psycho killer out there that is starting to murder people. You obviously want to get him caught as soon as possible. Now, the good news is, and this is as I'm doing this video, we're getting information. And that's why I wanted to wait to do this video until this evening, because we have some more information. But there is a suspect in custody, according to the FBI director. And, oh, wait. Oh, this is bad news, guys. Because earlier today, let me just show you right here, and I'll show you guys this. This is just breaking news. So I was just about to say, thank God the guy was caught, right? And this is because FBI Director Kash Patel, the subject of the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk, is now in custody. Thank you for the latest local and state authorities in Utah for your partnership with the FBI. We will provide updates when able. And I'm like, whew, well, at least they got the guy. And then it was like the big, who is the guy? Is it, it's probably a man. And so people are thinking, is it like a black guy, like killed that girl in Charlotte? And my initial response is probably not. In general, blacks don't do those type of crimes that require planning and accuracy. They're more like what happened in Charlotte with that guy. I don't even, in some ways, I don't consider him human. I don't think he thinks as a human. And I don't think that guy that stabbed that girl like planned it a day in advance. I don't think the guy really thinks more than 10 minutes in the future. The guy is just an animal, in my opinion. And I mean that literally. I don't think we should consider him as like a human. I don't think constitutional rights should apply to someone like him, because I don't even think I don't. I mean, because what you determine species is kind of a blurry thing. Like, were the Neanderthals humans? Well, we say no, but we could breed with them. So were they, and I don't know about this guy, but anyway, he was very primitive mind. He just did impulsive thing, low IQ, who knows, right? He probably hated her because she was blonde and everyone else on the train or bus was black. And he pulled out a knife and stabbed her. I don't think he put much thought into it. So those are the type of crimes that type commits. But this required, okay, Charlie Kirk's going to be here. I have to get a rifle. And again, those types usually don't use rifles. If they have a gun, they shoot it sideways. They usually miss, and they like to stab. And so this wasn't really the MO for Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk, I'm assuming, is going to be a man. And I think there's a high probability it could be a guy that identifies as a woman. There's been a lot of violence from them recently, and they're very angry. And I would not be surprised is that, or it could be some older boomer leftist, like initially we thought. Those are my two bets now. I don't think it's a black guy, but we will see. It could be someone else. I could be wrong. I don't have any information on that. But anyway, so I was like, well, good. We got the guy. We're going to, get to the bottom of this right now. It's just, let's see what it is as they release it. But now I just saw this. This was just put out a couple of minutes ago. The subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues and will continue to release information on interest of transparency. And so the guy they had, obviously they don't think did it, because they're not going to allow someone that they think committed an assassination, first-degree murder to wander, let him go. I did see something where they arrested a guy in Utah. It looked like some older white guy, and they pulled out some sort of rifle out of his car. Maybe that was the guy they were thinking, but maybe he just happened to have a rifle. A lot of people have rifles, especially where I live. People like to go hunting. Maybe it had nothing to do with it. I mean, they could verify that real easy, see if the gun had been fired. Maybe they determined, well, this wasn't the guy at all. So that's bad news. The subject, the murderer, is still on the loose. and it was assassination. Pretty sure was politically assassinated. So that is the news there. So we still don't have a official suspect yet, but I hope we get it. There's a lot of people. There has been some rumors of people like on this guy. It looks like a homosexual, dresses like a woman, was supposedly saying that he was going to kill Charlie Kirk, but I don't want to bring that up now just because it hasn't been confirmed. And I've learned sometimes your initial thinking or thoughts on this matter are wrong. So I don't want to bring that up on the show because, maybe it's not. But if I had to guess, I would say it was someone transgendered. I mean, they have a lot of mental issues. So there's been a lot of violence. We had that one that just killed children. So yeah, I could see definitely it. And it was probably someone that could shoot accurately. So it was a man. So it probably wasn't a woman or a black guy, but it was probably a man that identified as a woman, is my guess. But it could be like a boomer, hippie type that is just bitter about the world, that is on Facebook too much and thinks Trump is Hitler. That could be too. But we will see. So that's where we are right now. And hopefully the FBI will get this guy. And hopefully when they get the guy, he will face the death penalty. And if we had I think we're at a time of war now, and I'll get into this in the show, but I think I'm for suspending a lot of the constitutional protections of some of these people. And I think we need swift executions, like the guy that killed that Ukrainian girl. He should be dead by now. He should be dead. We have no reason to keep this guy alive. He's a violent criminal. He's done that 14 times in a row previously. He's done violent crimes. The assholes that, Black Lives Matter, let black bodies out. We don't want them in prison. They're responsible and they should be arrested too. I think we're at a serious point in this country's history that we got to take these matters, because we're in a literal war. And people talk about a civil war, kind of, but it's not like the Civil War in 1860, between the North and the South. It's more like the Irish when they went through the Troubles, or Spain went through. We're kind of in that situation of attacks. Now, it's only been one way, the attack so far. The left have been attacking our people, murdering them, and they've been relying on the media to cover for them. But that's another thing that we see happening is there's been a breakdown of the containment from the mainstream media trying to hide these stories. That black guy that butchered that white girl, they tried to hide it. They really did. But it broke containment and even got on Facebook, and even normies were seeing it. It's a horrific video. Poor girl's bleeding to death. All the other blacks, I didn't give a shit. They didn't help her. And, this guy, again, the guy that stabbed her, I don't really consider really fully human. I really don't. This guy's just a basic animal, dangerous. He should not have been on the streets. And again, there's some black people that are really good. Don't get me wrong. But there's a subset of people that I consider basically animals. And they may have some basic ability to use speech, but at a very basic level, they don't think like we do. It's called anthropomorphism, where we assume that another species is like us, and some, like a dog. The dog has they think like we do. Well, no, they don't, right? And I don't think this guy really thinks like we do. I don't think he has long range planning or anything like that. He just got a notion and killed someone because, I don't know, it's not that sophisticated. Whereas this assassination in Utah with Charlie Kirk, this looked really planned out. So I'm expecting this to be a different demographic. Now, I could be wrong. It could be a black guy in this one too, but we will see. I'm predicting an older white guy that probably identifies as a woman. That's what I'm predicting on this, but we will see. We will see on that. And I already got a few Powerchats and SuperChats. Thank you. I don't know how long I'm going to do this video today, guys. I just have to, with something like this, I have to just get on and vent. And you guys help me with this. And I think all of us help each other. When this happened, Sasha, she can probably tell you I was angry, very angry. More than you can imagine angry, right? Like, I don't care about my life. There needs to be punishment for these people, right? They need to be punished quickly, not a long drawn out process with lawyers and courts and all sorts of appeals. I mean, these assholes, need to face justice quickly. And I was very explicit about that. And I do believe that. I think we're at that point right now. And so I had to take a walk today, just try to settle down. But I don't want to settle down totally, right? I don't want to become numb to this idea that some girl from Ukraine can just be sitting on a bus. Was it a bus or train? I forget. Just looking at her phone, and some fucking savage for no reason decides to stab her in the neck. We shouldn't have to live like that. We didn't live that way before. We have no obligation to live like that. And we don't have any obligation to keep these people alive that do that. No obligation at all. And I don't care about his rights. I don't care about any of that shit, right? He shouldn't be alive today. He should have got justice quicker. And I'm tired of we coddling these criminals and allowing these savages to run free. This is why we have the government to deal with them. They're not dealing with them, right? They're not dealing with them. And the media tries to hide it. But even that broke. Even the media had to talk about it a little bit, like the New York Times. They didn't really cover the story. They're just mad that people are noticing, because even normies are like, well, wait a minute. And be honest, guys, just imagine if you had a bus in your city and it was all white people, except a young black girl sat down and she was looking at her phone, and some white guy with a MAGA took out a knife and just stabbed her in the neck and said, I got the black bitch. I got the black girl. And that's basically what that guy did. And the other white people are like, what do you think the reaction would be? Oh, the cities would be burning down. Media people would be screaming and crying. We'd be hearing about white guilt. The ADL and SPLC were saying all white people are complicit. It'd be crazy. But when it happens this way, he must be mentally ill. I'm like, no, he's not mentally ill. Who he is. That's what they are. That's how they are. And I have a treatment for mental illness. It's called people that commit these crimes should be executed. That cures the mental illness. It cures it 100%. We don't have to deal with them. I don't care about the troubles. I don't care about the childhood. I don't care about supposedly how bright they are and how he just makes everyone smile. I don't really give a shit about that. These people do not belong among us. And this is where we are right now. And these people are extremely violent. And there's a whole bunch of them in different demographics, including the shooter in Utah, who I'm guessing is not black. I could be wrong. I could get egg on my face. It could be a black guy. Very, very, I don't think it is though. So we will see. But I just get so frustrated with this. And it's something we don't want to just take for granted that we should have to live like this. It's like, no, we can't live like this anymore. Right? This Constitution, this country was made for our people. We invited some people over. I know some were slaves, and we expect them though to live in a civilized manner. And some can, but if you can't, we have no obligation to you at all. And we need to be ruthless to these people. As Donald Trump said, we need to be ruthless. They need a fear. They need to get fear back in to behaving in this way. They got to have a fear like, oh, if I do this shit, I'm probably going to die really quick in a really bad way. They have to fear that. They don't do that now. They think it's funny. So this is what needs to change. So thank you. I'll get some of the power chat here. Kim from Finland. Love the old format. Welcome back, Ram. So thank you. And that was from earlier. Drew says Rico for $5. Yeah, Rico. And that's why I did I did a post on X saying that Trump really needs to use Rico to roll up all these leftist groups like Antifa and BLM. RICO is an effective tool with organized crime. And what it does is it's not just the meth head, Antifa, transgender types rolled up, but you get the people that fund them. You also send them to jail. This is what needs to happen. And we need to do this with associated groups like the SPLC, ADL. They need to be considered terrorist organizations that help inspire this type of attacks. They need to be rolled up. And there needs to be mass arrests. They need to go to prison or worse. That's what needs to happen. We don't have time for these type of people anymore. They're at war with us. And I don't like war. I don't like violence. I'm a peaceful person. I'd rather just talk about things and have debates. But they've determined they don't care about debates. They just want to kill. And if that's the case, if the other side decide they just want to kill you, then you have the responsibility and the obligation to fight back and not just roll over and die. You have a right to fight back. And we need to start understanding we can't just be like lambs to a slaughter and just let them get away with that. They have to understand there's consequences for their behavior. And we're not going to tolerate assholes talking about our white privilege and white guilt and how we need to eliminate whiteness. Those fuckers need to be eliminated. If you have that type of speech, we don't want you here in this country. We're not going to allow your fucking subversion. We're not going to allow that anymore. You need to get the fuck out. And we're tired of your bullshit. We've been way too lenient with you, but those days are over, right? Everything's changed. Just like the left thought everything changed with George Floyd. I hope everything changed with that Ukrainian girl and Charlie Kirk. I hope everything's changed now. It's like, no, we're not going to do this bullshit anymore. You're not going to behave in that way. You can't just randomly stab people to death. We're not going to put up with that bullshit. You just can't murder someone because they don't agree with your sexual perversions. We're not going to put up with that. And if you do that, you yourselves are quickly going to be in your graveyard. The government's going to come down on you hard, and we're not going to tolerate this. We just won't. And if you fund this, we're coming at you hard too. We're going to take away your organizations and you're going to be criminal penalties. This is what has to happen. We got to look at groups like the ADL, the SPLC, BLM, Antifa, like the Klan. Like they destroyed the Klan, they used RICO. We got to consider them like the Klan, roll them up, put them in jail for a long time, and it needs to happen now, not tomorrow. And it needs to be happening now. There needs to be raids tonight on these people, kicking down the doors and pulling them out and say, yeah, I'm sorry. You know, you can say about your Constitution, we're under a state of emergency. Fuck you. You could have handled things differently, but you didn't. You decided to behave in this matter. You thought we had infinite tolerance for this type of behavior. We're no longer done with that. We're done with that. Sorry, it's a new game in town. We are backed in the corner. We are fighting for our survival. We don't have the time to worry about your fucking rights. You don't have a rights. If you could have acted like decent citizens, is one thing. You can't though. You can't. So tough shit. And you're crying and carrying on. We don't really care. We don't care at all. In fact, good. I hope you cry and carry on. The more tears you have, the better. We want you to have tears. We want you to have fear and pain because of what you have done to us. That needs to be our message. We don't want unity. We don't have any unity. What unity does lightness have with darkness, as Jesus said? There is no unity with good versus evil. These people are evil. We don't have any unity with you. We don't want to understand you. We don't give a fuck about your so-called mental illnesses. I don't care about your mental illnesses. You do savage attacks, you're going to pay the price. And fuck your mental illness and your little sad story. Fuck off. I don't care about it. And a lot of us are not caring about it anymore. And I'm passionate about this, but we need to get passionate about it. And just, it hits me just seeing a young girl like that butchered for no reason. And this little fucker's still alive. What's up with that? And Charlie Kirk just went in his speech. And I'll talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk. I never knew much about Charlie Kirk. I know he did the Turning Point USA. And he was kind of a real Civ Natish Republican. I get it, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like a type of guy. This is what's so ironic. They always say the right is so intolerant, all these stupid fuckers like the ADL and the SPLC. But we were actually the ones like, yeah, have your point of views. I disagree with them, but I'm not going to threaten to kill you. But no, they want to censor you. They want to throw you in prison, or they want to execute you, or they support that. And it's just crazy. But I'm actually a tolerant guy. So if someone has a different point of view, I'm like, yeah, well, not my thing exactly. And Charlie Kirk, some of the stuff back then, I was like, yeah, it's kind of milquetoast, but good job, Charlie, whatever. And I thought there was a turning point, ironically, when the Groypers with Nick Fuentes, they infiltrated one of his meetings and they asked him how anal sex is a conservative value because he has some gay guy on stage with him. And that really changed Charlie Kirk. It really did, because Charlie's a Christian, or was a Christian, and embarrassed him. He didn't have a defense for that. And after that moment, if you guys remember that moment, Charlie really changed. He became more and more right-wing. And recently, Charlie Kirk was, like I always joke, everyone, eventually they come over to the RAMZPAUL. They sound like me. And he was sounding like RAMZPAUL. And I admire him for that. And I liked him about that. And he was influential, and he was becoming, as we would say, more based. And again, there were some things I was still found a little cringe about him, is the whole Israel thing and everything. But even then, even in that area, he was starting like, well, wait a minute. He was really learning. Charlie. So I applauded him for that. And I know Fuentes and him always had a feud, which is too bad because I think Charlie did a lot of really good things, even though, yeah, he may not have been his edge lord or something, but he was a decent guy. He was respectful to people. He just gave his positions, and it was sad. So that was Charlie Kirk, and over the time when I've listened to Charlie Kirk, I found myself agreeing with him more than disagreeing with him. And I used to joke with Z-Man about that, just how everyone's starting to move over on our side. And it's sad too, this happened because if Z-Man was still alive, we'd be doing a stream together on this. I would really love his insight. He was really insightful on this. But he'd probably talk about how when the left amps up the violence so much, eventually there's a reaction. And then we just got to eliminate this once and for all. And I think he would think that too. I mean, we can't have our children being stabbed to death by feral animals. We can't have people that are just speaking freely as Americans assassinated for what they're saying, right? We can't. And the people that cheer that on, we can't live with them. They need to go elsewhere. They can't be with us. And we got to make that clear. And we got to make it clear we're just not lambs to be slaughtered. We have to make it clear to them that they also have vulnerabilities, right? Right. It just doesn't go one way. They think they can attack us and they get a free pass. They always assume that, right? That they can attack, but oh no, it's wrong for us to ever think of defending ourselves. Well, I think those days are gone. I have no sympathy for those people anymore. So that's it. Olga, $15. Thank you. Hey, Sir Rams. The moderate right died today. They're coming to our side. Enough of this BS war. Yeah, Olga, I 100% agree with you. I think people are seeing that, okay, the left has made it very clear they do not want dialogue. They just want to kill, right? They want war, and they've started the war. We haven't fought back, but this is where we are right now. And I'm really encouraging Trump and the FBI to fight back hard, to keep control of this situation. And we're not going to tolerate this sort of stuff anymore at all. And we're going to roll up anyone. We're going to roll up Soros organizations. We're going to put those fuckers in jail. And it's just that. We're not going to tolerate that. We're not going to have like that animal that killed that girl. He's not going to be on death row for 20 years. He should be executed within 30 days. That's what it should be. There's no reason to keep that guy around. And I don't care. I don't care about his so-called mental illness. I don't care about his anything like that. I don't care. I hope when he dies, it's very painful. And that's just my only hope. But otherwise, I don't care about him. That has to be our perspective. And there's no unity. There's no, we got to think about their little feelings. They don't give a damn about you. They want you dead. And we have to understand that. And I'm sorry, like, oh, you can't say certain words that hurt some. I'm like, okay, right. So we say words that hurt us and we get a knife in the neck. Yeah, no, those days are over. So it's horrible. And but I do agree with you, Olga. I think there has been a change in a lot of the people that are looking at this. They're getting really frustrated. Digitus, that repulsive fat JB Pritzker blamed Trump for the assassination of Kirk. What a loathsome sack of shit. Yeah, I have no tolerance of those people whatsoever. They're the enemy, and we have to look at it in those terms. I don't want dialogue with these people anymore at all. I don't really care. They have shown they don't want dialogue. They just want violence. It's not what I prefer, but that's what they chose. And it's on. It's on. That's how they want to do it. And we got to have that mindset with them. I'm not going to feel sorry for them. I'm not going to boo-hoo like another George Floyd. I'll say good riddance, good fucking riddance. And that's what got to be our thing. And, and all their little crying about whatever, Emmett Till or whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about your little history and all your crying about your victimology. I don't give a shit. It makes me laugh. And that's a lot of us have this attitude right now that we're tired of this. And we're not going to put up with it anymore. And again, I'm not espousing violence or anything like that, but I think our government needs to act very forcefully, and we have a right to defend ourselves, and that's what should happen. And people, they have to understand that if they stab someone in the neck, maybe someone's going to shoot them on the bus. That has a gun to defend them. And we got to keep people like, was it Daniel Perry that was arrested because he helped someone to prevent this situation like happened with that Ukrainian girl, and he got arrested. We got to say, no, that's not going to happen anymore. We're going to look out for people that are actually doing good things and trying to protect people. And that needs to be our message right now. I do think this is a fundamental change we've had right now in this country, where normal people are just not tolerating this anymore. And it's just coming so much. And these are only the big stories, because you guys probably didn't even know. Just a couple of weeks ago, a couple in New York, some black guy did the old ruse. Oh shit! Can I come in? I need to charge my phone. I would never fall for that. I understand he's get my gun out. But they're an older couple. They don't want to be racist, so they let him in. He thanked them by robbing them, tying them up, and burning them alive. Yep, another black on crime, burning an elderly white couple to death. Probably didn't hear about that, did you? The media try to hide these stories. Well, people are hearing about it now, and we're not tolerating that. If you do that stuff, you're going to end up very, very bad. And that needs to be the message there. And I don't want to talk about unity or anything like that. There's no unity with evil. I just want these people gone. That's the only way we can have peace now. They need to get the fuck out. And we don't want them around. I don't want them around. They're backed us in the corner. I'm not interested about their debates anymore. They don't care about our debates. They just want to kill. So we're done with that. We're done with debating them. We're done with their perspective. I don't really give a shit about their mental illness. I don't care about their problems. I don't care about their blood libels they do against us of whiteness and white supremacy. Fuck off with that. Those words don't mean anything to me anymore. They don't mean anything to a lot of people anymore. People are tired of this. And I think that has been a big change there. So how will this change things about the moderate right? I think this is definitely going to hurt the Democrats big time. Most people do not want violence like this. And Democrats, they have a policy they've had since George Floyd of allowing criminals to go free, especially if they're black. And people are really tired of that. And that is the stuff. So it's a sad situation that is happening now. But I do think this hopefully will hurt the Democrats going forward. And I think this is the frustration we're feeling is just not a frustration in the United States. We've seen similar things like this happen in Europe, people stabbed, these third world people coming in doing this that don't belong here. And people are just fed up. And I think it's just spreading across. And again, I think in general, we're good people and we don't want to harm anyone, but we don't want to be the victims to this type of violence anymore. So will this actually be effective, the left? Was there assassination of Charlie Kirk? Is this going to be effective for them? No, I don't think it will. It's going to backfire big time. It's not going to silence people or scare them. They're going to be more bold than ever. I'm going to be more bold than ever. You die, we're all going to die anyway. I'm not going to die because of these evil people and cower before them. Our people that founded this country and Western civilization, we stood up to these evil sorts before, and we will stand up to this evil now. And we need to go at the funding and who's supporting this type of evil. We got to do with the organizations that help promote anti-whiteness. We got to be willing not to be so squeamish that we have to play by a different standard where we're just, oh, kumbaya, we love everyone. Can't we just all get along? While the left, they just go ahead and slaughter, murder us, and we don't do anything about it. And we need to be able to stand up and say, no, those days are gone. We're in a different timeline now, and you guys chose this. We're not going to tolerate that type of thing anymore whatsoever. That has to be our view. And I think that is going to spread. So that's sort of the political ramifications for that. Okay, let's see here. Other thoughts here. Let me check my Rumble, make sure I didn't miss any questions you guys have here. Yeah, a lot of the left, they're trying to make it for their thing. Like that black killer is mentally ill. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to be around those people. And oh, gun control. I don't really care about that. Our people, when we have guns, it's not an issue. I live in an area where everyone has guns. People don't shoot each other. It's the problem is not the gun, it's the people. And if the people are bad, we can't fix that. The guns aren't the problem. And we need to really push forward in that. Now, the good thing is Charlie Kirk was really connected in many ways to the Trump administration. I think Donald Trump Jr. was really good friends with him. He said he was like a little brother. So I'm hoping this will inspire the Trump administration why they think about this, especially what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I will hope they say, okay, we have a war against our people. We're going to take this serious and crack down. We don't have time to mess around with Ukraine. And by the way, those guys have been total fucking assholes about this whole thing, too. We don't have time with them. And we don't have time about the God's chosen, whoever they're slaughtering. We have to focus on our own country. And we're not going to tolerate this type of behavior. And I hope there's things that are happening now that will do this. And the media is horrible. They're complicit in this too. They have tolerated this behavior. They have egged on this behavior. They have hid crimes against our people. They have minimized crimes against our people. And the system has done horrible things to us. Because make no mistake, again, whatever you think about Charlie Kirk, I didn't agree with him 100%. But they were not just shooting Charlie Kirk. You understand they were symbolically also trying to murder you. Whoever it was, he was also, if he could, he would have murdered all you too. Like 100%. This is what they're doing. So Charlie Kirk was just a symbol. It wasn't so much about him. It was about us. Charlie Kirk was a man that was not even that radical, but he stood up for Western civilization, our traditional American values. And people that like to wear dresses and expose themselves to kids were like, no, that's not the way we're going to be anymore. How dare anyone criticize our behavior? We're going to put him to death. That we can't have peace with those type of people. We got to make that all illegal. That behavior used to be illegal. It's like, fuck that. That behavior is illegal. You're not going to be doing that anymore. If you prance around like that, you're going to prison. Straight up. I'm not even talking kids. I'm saying if as an adult, you act in that manner, you get your ass in jail. We're not tolerating that perversion. If you're going to do that fucking perversion, you better hide it and do it in the privacy of your own home. But we're not going to put up with this bullshit anymore. And we got to tell people, others, hey, if you're going to ride the bus, you better not stab someone. And if you ever do a violent crime, again, as I said a while back, I'm not heartless. I know people when they're young, sometimes they make mistakes or they do some crimes. Let's say you're a kid, you're 17, 18, you steal a car. I'm not advocating it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get another chance or anything like that. But if you do violent crime after violent crime after violent crime, you should not be on the street. After a certain amount of times, I think you should be executed. Even if you don't commit murder, by the third time you do that, why should we pay for you? You're just a genetic dead end. You can't fit within society. I don't want to pay for you. I don't want to mess with you. You're not going to change. Therapy's not going to change you. You're stupid ass. You're violent. I don't even think you should be considered human. You can't even think in basic abstract thoughts. You just need to be put down. Be put down like a rabid dog you are. That needs to be our policy. We don't give a shit about the rest. And if we had that policy, we wouldn't have much violent crime because it's really a small section of the population that does this violent crime per capita. And if we eliminate those that do that have shown that they're violent through doing this over and over and over, we would eliminate this. And we cannot tolerate judges or prosecutors that allow these people to run on our streets. We just can't tolerate it because a lot of these bastards are rich. They have private security. They don't have to do this. They don't have to ride the damn bus, right? They don't have to worry about someone stabbing a knife in their neck just randomly. They don't have to because they're well off. Other people don't have that luxury. So we need to stop that as quickly as possible. We got to change the whole conversation about that. And again, I don't want to hear any more BLM or Antifa. They need to be rolled up. They need to be considered terrorist groups. They are the enemy. They're combatants. They have no civil rights. They have no civil protections. They are the enemy, like in battle. Be like an invasion. It's just simple as that. And bring out the National Guard, shoot to kill. Shoot to kill if they start to behave in a certain manner. I don't give a damn about them because they don't give a damn about us. They want a war. Okay, they can got a war. They got their fucking war. They can have it. And that needs to be our attitude. And it's not going to get better if we try to, oh, we just got to be all in harmony, because they don't want to coexist with you. They want to eliminate you. And that is the message that we have to understand, that it really is right now. So it was a very kind of emotional. You guys can probably tell I'm pretty emotional about this. And it's not because I knew Charlie Kirk. I never knew him. I don't know if he knew me. He probably knew of me, but I had nothing against him, really. I didn't really think about him that much. But it's just sad because, again, it wasn't an attack just on him. It was an attack on all of us. And we have to understand that. We have to understand they see us as a unified people, even though we may not. We need to come together and circle the wagons and protect each other and have a message that we're not going to tolerate this type of activities, and we don't give a damn about their excuses. I don't care about excuses anymore. I really don't. And that needs to be our argument. And I don't want to hear about gun control. Where I live, everyone has guns. There's no crime. If they can't handle themselves around guns, then they shouldn't be in our society. It's just simple, right? You're a genetic dead end. You're too much of a fucking savage to live like a human. Then you shouldn't be among us, right? We don't let other wild animals run around us. We don't allow chimpanzees to run around us, right? Because they're different. They can't handle it. And the same with that. So if you can't behave yourself in a basic manner, then we're not going to put up with you. And if you do violent crimes, oh, we're going to come down on you hard. And if you execute someone like you did, bad, you're going to die quick. And just understand that's going to happen. It's not going to be years from now. It's going to be months from now. After the court, you're going to be strung up. That's the way it is. We don't give a shit about your appeal. We don't give a shit about anything else. I don't really care about your childhood. We have to make that clear. And I don't really care about all the words these people use, racism, Nazi, white supremacists. I don't really give a shit about any of that. We're past that. Your words don't mean fucking thing anymore while we're having our blood on the ground. So fuck your words and your supposed offense. You're not offended anyway. You're trying to use the words of the weapon, and those days are over. So I think that's how we have to approach it now. So yeah, it is it's a very, very sad situation. And those were my initial thoughts there. So how do we go forward, and what's the thing first? I think we need to, a couple of things. I think we need to, we're not thugs, right? We're not bandits. We're not like them. So it's not to be like them. That's not the way we do things as a people. And we shouldn't. Again, we're not criminals or thugs. Our people, though, can organize as soldiers and as effective defense. That's how we have to look at things as a people. And so we do things not just randomly, but we make sure that there's consequences. And as a people, we need to get our people understand that as a group, that we're not going to tolerate certain things. We're not the type of people that if the girl, let's say in Charlotte, was murdered, we don't burn down Wendy's. We don't like they do. We don't loot liquor stores or tennis shoes or anything like that, because that's not who we are. So I'm not suggesting we behave in that manner where we dance around like savages. That's not who we are, and we shouldn't be like that, right? We have a different standard. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we need to be weak. We need to be organized. And organization is the most important thing. It's the most deadly thing. And you get people that organize and can plan and put pressure on politicians and work with the government. This is how you make real change. So you don't make real change by just acting out in anger by yourself, because that's not going to accomplish anything. It won't accomplish anything whatsoever. You may get yourself killed, but I've always told young people, I'd rather don't die for some abstract cause, live to do the hard work, right? So you could go out in a blaze of glory, but that never accomplishes anything. And it usually makes things worse. And I would say just even what this guy that killed Charlie Kirk, the left, they made it worse for them. So that sort of stuff that doesn't work. So don't go that route. And I'm going to ask you something harder than that, because that's actually kind of the easy route, trying to be the hero. The harder route is to work hard, organize with people, make them understand that you're angry and we're not going to take this anymore, and get like-minded people together and put political pressure on and start to do things in that fashion, because that makes more of a difference. If you can do things in an organized way, it's way more better. Some organized people, like the British against the Zulu savages, they held, just a handful of them held off thousands because the British were organized. And so being organized, you can do a lot more than just running around randomly, stealing, burning down buildings, or anything like that. So it's justifiable being angry. You should be angry. God gets angry, and he's angry at sin and violence and that sort of thing. We should have anger. We should have righteous anger against what has been done to us. But we need to channel that righteous anger in a proper manner. And a proper manner is not just everyone randomly doing violence. That's what they do, whatever. We do it in a little more forceful manner, more sophisticated manner. That's how we need to do it. So we got to channel that into a better way, and to get people to work as a group and within the society, not be outsiders of society and be these weirdos, but be part of society, because this is a hot issue with everyone, even normal people. And say, we don't have to live like that. We're making changes. It's just that simple. And if some judge prattles on about stuff, we're like, well, we don't really give a fuck what you say. And if you still want to be around here, you need to shut the fuck up. We're just removing you. Oh, you can't do that. You got to, no, well, we're doing it. And that's what needs to happen with Trump and stuff. We need to I wish Trump would declare an emergency and we start to take matters underhand right away to put an end to a lot of this organized violence against our people. This is what we got to push for. So don't give up your anger. Anger's good. You should never be, our people are slaughtered. Oh, isn't that sad? No, take that anger, but push it into a productive way, not just having a tantrum way, because that doesn't do any good. It's not beneficial. Not that I care morality wise, I don't care, but just as a practical point of view, we have to focus ourselves in a way that will be productive. And that's how we need to respond to these situations. And because it's not going to get better. The left is not, they're not going to die down on this. They're going to double down. And a lot of these people are extremely insane. If you ever read what they say, they are nuts. And we need to really understand that. We have to understand it. We have to understand this isn't just our fellow Americans that we have a political disagreement with. These people are fundamentally separate than us. They are outsiders. They're not us. They don't have constitutional protections, and we shouldn't consider them having such things. And I don't care about the so-called legal status. That doesn't mean anything anymore. That's a piece of paper. The left never gives a damn about pieces of paper, right? They don't give a shit about that. Oh, we shouldn't either then. And we should make that really clear to them. So we got to do forceful things to bring back law and order into this country and good people of all races. Because again, all people, there's a lot of good blacks, good Mexicans, whites, everything. But we don't have to tolerate evil people. We don't, and we've done that for too long. And we got to declare war against these evil people and give them no mercy whatsoever. Don't cry for them. Don't feel sorry for them. Don't like, oh, they're executed. They look like they felt a little bit of pain during the execution. I don't care. I don't care. In fact, good. And so that has to be our message and our way we think. And I know it's kind of tough, but that's the way it is. So let me see. I got another $2 question here, Rant. And thank you guys for being here. It's really good just to go through this. I'm on another continent in a different hemisphere, and even I can see evil is running rampant and needs to be tackled head on. No more. The time is to show strength and an unwavering commitment to evil. Yeah, I agree with that too. I think a lot of this, and Charlie was a Christian and he really believed his faith. And a lot of this is spiritual. And I'm detecting, especially when you get into this weird sexual perversions, this where they sterilize kids and mutilate their bodies. That's just straight out satanic. And a lot of this stuff, these people, I don't want to say, they're always demonically possessed, but I think a lot of these people sometimes are literally demonically possessed. They bring it upon themselves. And it is a sense of evil. And that's a word that is real because it is real. Evil's a thing. And you have some of these people, and again, we're all humans. We all make mistakes and we can do bad things. So it's not that. But there's a fundamental difference between, let's say, a kid that steals a car and joyrides. Not advocating that, but, okay, let's see, correct his behavior. Let's see, move on, not destroy his life over it. Doesn't mean there shouldn't be a penalty. Maybe you shouldn't have to pay restitution or whatever, right? Clean up trash on the side of the road every weekend. I'm fine with that. But, don't destroy his life over that. But if you just sitting there and someone of a different race is in front of you and you just get into your little primitive brain, however it works, that you're going to stick a knife in their throat, we don't need you anymore. We don't need you. That's just pure evil. It's evil because it's at a different level than even animals deal with. Animals really aren't evil, but that sometimes it will have a nature. They will, for example, a bear may attack you because the mother bear thinks you may harm his cubs, even though you're not, and the bear may kill you. Or the bear may be hungry and see you as food. That's bad and it's horrific, bear mauling you, but the bear's not evil. It's just acting by nature. It's hungry or is trying to defend his cubs as it thinks. But humans, just to randomly stab someone in the neck, that's just evil because there's no reason for that, right? It's not like he's trying to protect someone. It's not like he's hungry. He's trying to steal money from her to get a loaf of bread. It's just evil. And we don't have to put up with evil. We need to recognize it exists. And I don't want to hear excuses about it. And again, because they try to, he just had a mental illness. Well, I don't care. He still should be dead, right? That will cure his mental illness. I guarantee you that. And the mental illness is like, a lot of them are like that. So they're all mentally ill. That's how they are. So hopefully, good point there, Digitus. I do think there's a lot of evil there. It's time to show strength with an unwavering commitment to fight evil. That's right. And again, you don't fight evil by doing evil yourself. And that's the point I always try to make to people. Not that we would. Our people don't behave mostly in that fashion, right? So if we see like one of our people viciously murdered, again, we don't burn down a Wendy's or rape random people or do that sort of thing. That's not how we act. But at the same time, we need to act forcefully, not weak. We need to show strength. And we got to show that's not going to be tolerated. And there's ways to do that besides burning down Wendy's or doing random acts of violence. That's stupid. We need to focus ourselves in a very hard position, but one that is with our people and going forward and is in an organized fashion. That's how it needs to be responded to. And it's more effective that way too. So I agree with you. And believe me, I don't know if you guys did. I mean, I have my own, I rage that I go through too. And I have the horrible impulses, like get revenge, that type of thing. And I'm not against getting revenge, but we get revenge in a different manner than how they do. And we need to really focus on that. And we need to always remember this. And there's so many different ways, like all the diversity stuff, the anti-whiteness, and we're going to say, fuck you, we're not doing this anymore. And even little things like Elon Musk is doing, like how AP Style Guide, they capitalize black but not white. We got to say, fuck you. We're not doing interviews with you if you're doing this racial libel. Who the fuck you think you are to try to minimize us like that? Yeah, it's minor, but it's symbolic. We're not going to play your bullshit game. And you're part of the problem, right? You're encouraging this violence. You're encouraging it by hiding the violence that's been happening against our people and then over blowing other things that have happened, right? So the media, they consider, remember that Shiloh girl? She said a bad word. They consider that the media cover that harder than they did the girl that was stabbed in the neck with a knife by the black guy. It's amazing. But that's how they think it. That's how we got to say, no, those days are over. And we got to hold these people accountable that do that type of thing. And I think that is one of the great ways that we can handle this. So going forward, so that's how we go going forward. Everyone wants to know, what to do. And so that's my advice, is just channel your anger, which isn't bad, but into a productive ways. Always remember this. Have no mercy for the evil. Please don't. Never feel sorry for these people, ever. I don't care about their background, their story, their sob story. I don't care if they have a bright smile and they love their mama. And I don't really give a shit about that. Or they're going to be an astronaut. They're not. They're a dumb fucking savage. And I don't really care about all their stories or all their excuses. And that needs to be our attitude. We don't want these people living among us that engage in violent behavior like this. And once we get that perspective, I think that will help us, and that will help us move forward. Now, the question is, will that happen? And, a lot of people are cynical and say, oh, a couple of days from now, this will all be forgotten. I don't think so, man. I really don't. I detect a vibe shift. I know that sounds, vibe shift, but I don't know if you guys have. Again, normal people are really upset. And, like what? A guy that's in his early 30s that just wants to talk about issues is assassinated for speaking. And some guy that dresses up like a woman goes to a Christian school and slaughters kids. Really? And some black guy decides to just randomly, because in his primitive brain, he thinks it'd be fun to stick a knife in this pretty girl's neck. Really? And another guy decides that he's going to say his phone is dead and prey on the good nature of an elderly couple that, oh, I'm not being racist. We'll let him in. We'll help them. And then he responds to their kindness by tying them up and setting them on fire. Really? Really? No, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to tolerate that anymore. And that's the way it is. And I don't want to hear any more whining about, oh, black people saying this is so bad when we go down the streets. White people go on the other side of the streets. Ooh, that's racism. It's like, well, it's because of your behavior, right? So clean up your behavior. Maybe people won't do that. So we got to have that change. And I think that change is coming among our people, how we're feeling that. Now, what's it going to mean for the young people? I think this is further going to move more of the young people to the right. We've already seen that. And it's sad we're losing Charlie Kirk, but someone else will pick up the mantle. And, I'm hoping. I've had a lot of bad things to say about Nick Fuentes. I was a huge fan of his. I had him on the RAMZPAUL show when he wasn't that big. And then he just went down a strange route. But I have to say, recently, he's starting to sound a little bit more, because the old Nick Fuentes was really articulate and really cool. And then the new Nick Fuentes would have said, some blonde girl that got slaughtered, well, she deserves it because she's a woman, and we hate women, they're gross. And I'm like, okay, I can't defend this. But the new Nick Fuentes recently, I got to give him this, he's sounding a little better. So maybe Nick can Charlie Kirk changed. Maybe Nick could go back to his roots and stop blaming everything on white women and all that type of nonsense. And I think that he would be a lot more effective on that. And I think so far he's been that way on like the killing of that Ukrainian girl. I didn't see him blaming women for that like he would have done a year or two ago. So that's good. That's good. And even though he was kind of a rival with Charlie Kirk, I don't think he's like celebrating, obviously, his assassination. So that's good. So I praise Nick on that. And I hope he can continue down that way. I know he went a weird way when he got, hooked up with that Kanye and dressed the Get mask and celebrating Hitler and all sorts of weird stuff. Hopefully he'll come back and maybe he can, because Nick is talented. I've always said that about Nick. It's just sadly he went down a strange path. So I'm hoping he will. Or there's a lot of other talented young people that can come out and can help to speak to people and older people. We have great people like Jared Taylor, have been around forever. But, the new blood that will come out and will not be weak, but at the same time, not be goofy. I don't know what other phrase to say it. I remember Z-Man, one of his favorite articles he wrote was called The Weirdo Problem. You're trying to build something, and then all of a sudden you get some really weird people involved that do weird things that they think. Like we had that one guy under Richard Spencer, thought he was literally a Roman emperor and drank goat's blood. Yeah, that's kind of weird, right? We don't need that sort of thing. We need people that are kind of sane, like Charlie Kirk. It's really sad. Almost makes you want to cry. He had a beautiful wife and children, normal guy, so he's not some weird, oh man, I'm an incel, I'm proud of it, or anything like that, or girls are gross. He actually had a family, and he seemed like a decent guy. It's just really sad. But we need more people like that. And I've always said that. We don't need weirdos. And there's always going to be weirdos. And I don't mean, you got to be perfect and not quirky. I'm some weird in a lot of ways. I have my quirks. So I'm not trying to throw stones there. But, let's have a little bit of sanity in some of our people that come up, and people that are just total weirdos and do goofy things. We just got to get more mature, not to get too involved with those types of people. And I'm thinking of some, and I'm not including Nick in that category. I'm thinking of some that kind of did a lot of goofy things in the past, but so we need to do that too. I think it's important because we're in a serious time now, and we do have a lot of momentum. And I think our momentum is, we had Digitus, he says he's from a different country. So a lot of people from different countries are feeling this too. People a lot of times look to the United States for leadership. They really do, on trends. And it's always interesting that, like, Europe's always a little behind us in trends. They were still stuck on diversity is the strength, until recently. I'm like, God, we've all given that up quite a while ago. And so hopefully they're going to pick up on this too. And so that will be good. So that's where we go there. So hopefully we'll have, the message is, you can't kill an idea, right? You can kill the people, you can kill Charlie Kirk, but you can't kill the idea. And I got a rant. Jack Pittsburgh, glad you're doing well, Rams. Best to you and Sasha. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. R.I.P. Z-Man. R.I.P. Irina. Yeah. And R.I.P. Tina Veek. Man, she was a Finnish patriot. And man, they just go too soon, That's sad, man. It's like Charlie Kirk, Z-Man, Irina, Tina Veek. I mean, there's so many good people. It's just like the other, it's really crazy there. So, yeah, that is the way there. All right. So thank you for that. Let me see if there's any other things here. All right. So it'll be interesting how the media tries to spin this. They usually like to try to ignore these type of murders because it doesn't fit their narrative. But I don't think they can ignore this anymore. It's broke containment, and there's too many people talking about it and are too passionate about it. And you got to get to the point you don't care anymore, that you just want to do what's right. And I think we all need to get to that position, that we don't want to be evil people. We don't want to be the bad guys, but we don't want to be weak people that just sits around while our kids get slaughtered. And we're like, oh, well, isn't that a shame? We got to have unity. No unity with these people. They're evil. There can be no unity of light with darkness. We got to win. That's how we got to look at it. And that has to be our perspective in this situation. Let me just do a real quick, because as part of this is really a breaking news here. And I just want to check to see if we got any more breaking news about a potential suspect. And one of the things that's interesting is how people have just really, they're just mad. Like Sam Hyde, I follow him, and people are just really tired about the whole thing that is happening right now. And you see it everywhere. And no, as I do this now, it doesn't look like they have a suspect in custody. Again, early in the day, to recap, they had some old boomer, but it turned out, I guess he wasn't really. I guess they just questioned him a moment ago. Then they arrested some other guy and took him in interrogation, but it looks like he wasn't involved. They let him go. So it sounds like the killer is still loose. So I would advise people own guns. We are in a time of war. You need to be armed. So if people show up, you can defend yourself against these leftists that tend to like to kill. And that is a thing right now. So that's worrisome that this killer is still out. And hopefully he will be brought to justice soon. At least that's what I see right now. Again, the everything changes pretty quickly here. I was watching Megyn Kelly today. It was heartbreaking. She was crying. She was friends with Charlie Kirk. Just on a human aspect of this, Charlie had a couple of kids. They don't have a father now. Even if you don't like Charlie, even if you disagree with what he says, you just don't have a right to take a life like that. Because taking a life, it just impacts so many people. The kids don't have a father. His wife doesn't have a husband. I assumed Charlie was young, so his parents lost, child. It's just horrific. And same with that girl that was murdered by that savage. It has an impact on just more than one person. And it's a really tragedy. It really is. And we must never forget that. And we must also never forget the risks that are out there. To speaking up, there is a risk. It was interesting because Sasha and I were just talking about it. I used to always, anyone that wanted to meet me, I'd meet, right? And met some really great people. I'm glad I did that. But it's one of those things, you meet 100 people, 99 are going to be really cool, but then you get one that's a real oddball. And do you really want to take a chance with that oddball? Whether they could be a secret Antifa or just some psycho or a weirdo. I've met some in that 1%. And it kind of spooks you. And it's like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I kind of understand why celebrities tend not to like to meet a lot of people, except in a controlled fashion. And it's not because they're necessarily stuck up, but there is a risk, there's, Jodie Foster was stalked by that one guy, Hinckley, that shot Reagan. There's a lot of nutty people out there. So and especially there's a lot of mentally damaged people out there because of the media and the programming. And a lot of these people, I think, are damaged by their hormones because they've been told they're born in the wrong body. Then they've been sexually mutilated. And then they find out they really can't change their sex. And they just get angry at God and society. And and you have these primitive people that are jealous because they can never really function in the society. It's just concepts they can't understand. They just live in the moment. And it's like taking someone from the Stone Age and putting them in the modern environment. It probably really frustrate them. So we're seeing a lot of that too. So it's a rough time, and I definitely I feel bad for all the people involved there. So let's see. Rest in RIV, Charlie, rest in vengeance. Necro Dancer. Yeah. And I hope Charlie rests in peace. I hope he's in heaven and all that type of stuff. He was a Christian. Again, I don't talk about religious matters that much, but I do hope that, and I hope his family has some peace about this. I hope they catch the killer. I hope the killer is executed. And more than that, I hope anyone that helped fund the killer or help spur him on, these groups that do that, like the ADL, SPLC, I hope there's some accountability and those groups are rolled up via RICO. I hope that has happened. Zoom Gadget. Charlie would have been president within 20 years had he not been killed. I never thought of that, but that could have been a possibility. Charlie Kirk was very well connected within the Republican Party. He knew Trump and Donald Trump Jr. He knew J.D. Vance. I think he knew most of the bigwigs in the Republican Party. He was friends with Megyn Kelly. He was pretty articulate. that could have been the situation. It really could have. It's really, really sad. I never thought about that, but you're right. That could have been the things. Kash Patel needs to go. I hope Trump fires him on national television tomorrow. Yeah, I'll hold off on judgment on that. I mean, I think he's just trying to be transparent. And a lot of times in these situations, sometimes they have to interrogate people and they have suspects. And sometimes the suspects aren't really the ones that did it because people get confused. I saw one guy, I'm not going to show him on here, and I think this is the guy they took in because they arrested him and they pulled a rifle out of the trunk of his car. And everyone was like, oh, this is the guy for sure, for sure. I'm like, well, no, it's Utah. People have rifles to go hunting and stuff. And they probably checked the rifle, saw it hadn't been fired. So I think he's just trying to be transparent. But I'm sure the FBI will make this case number one, no doubt about it, with Trump. And hopefully they bring this person to justice quickly. And it is. This guy's saying it was a transgender or a NAFO fella. Yeah, the Ukrainians, they've been just assholes. I just, or maybe not the Ukrainians themselves, but their supporters are, I'm like Team Russia now after I've seen how they respond. But yeah, that could be a situation there. I think it is. There's a good likelihood it's transgender, but I don't know. It may not be. I don't think it's a black guy. I could be wrong though. We don't know. It could be a Japanese woman, right? Throw me for a loop. I doubt it. I doubt it though. Could be a Mennonite. I doubt it though. I doubt it. So we will see. The first guy they arrested, I had to laugh. I mean, it's not a funny thing, the whole assassination, but it looked like he came from, I'm like, oh, that guy, white guy, this white boomer looks like he came from Casting Central from Curb Your Enthusiasm. It looked like Larry David. I'm like, what the hell? But that guy didn't do it though. They let him go. But yeah, it could be that. I doubt it's a Jewish guy, but who knows? And then you get all the conspiracy theories people are going to come up with, like, oh, Mossad executed him because he started questioning Israel, or the deep state took him out. And I'm like, I'm tired of all. I don't think so. But we'll get a lot of this. Would you support legislation for creating a civil service department dedicated to torture? Like a prison guard specialized in torture, cruel, unusual, creative methods. Fear can be good. No, I know that's very tempting. I seriously want to do that, but I would be fine for an emergency declaration that we expedite executions, put it that way. So if we know someone did it, like that black guy, he should quickly be executed, like within a month or two. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It's weird because they're like, oh, well, what do we do? They're talking about all these drugs to give you lethal injections, and they try to make it so complex. I'm like, just go to Ace Hardware and buy some rope. I mean, it's pretty effective. I've never seen that be an issue. Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't work and they don't break their neck right away and they choke to death. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, whatever. The girl choked to death on her blood. I really wouldn't shed any tears, put it that way, right? So I get that. I get the sentiment. Believe me, guys. If you could ask Sasha how I was I was enraged. I'm still angry, but it's more controlled now. And I understand we need to put this in a more focused fashion in doing things that are productive, right? I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Because these people that do these things and talk the shit, I'm like, I guess they're liking going for next now. The black guy did and the assassin. And I'm like, well, you guys have next too, right? You guys understand that, right? So I don't know how you're talking all the shit. Maybe you should think this a little bit, but they don't. They assume they're immune. But I don't think that's a very healthy thing for them to say. Clutch fans, stay safe, Rams. I fear all of us have a target on our back, especially brave people that speak their minds publicly. This has to stop. Yeah. And again, it's just not Charlie Kirk. It's everyone. Even those you are just private If you're a decent person that has a family, let's say a wife, and you're a Christian, you have a target on your back. Let's just be honest about it. Now, people that are more famous, like Charlie Kirk, obviously have a bigger target. That's true, but don't think you're immune. Don't think you're immune. And because if like you could have some, these leftists are becoming insane. And let's say, you go to church and you're their your neighbor and they think that you support Trump. Don't think that you're necessarily safe from these people. Uh, I'm just saying beware, right? So all of us need to be careful, but thank you for that. And you got to be really careful where you live. And it's like that girl in the bus, Ukraine. She probably didn't know because she's from Ukraine, but I'd be like, you don't want to sit in a seat in front of the black guy like that. I mean, oh, you can't. What? You racist? I'm like, better be racist. And what's wrong with racist? I mean, racism is just perceiving there's differences in the races based on behavior, right? It's let's see here. The official government title of the specialized prison guard torturer would be called Dungeon Master. That's pretty cool. What the fuck is happening? Well, that's a good question. What is happening? Let's see here. Let me go back to there. I don't know. It's a lot of things have built up over time. I think COVID and the reaction to it really broke a lot of people's minds. I really do. And I think a lot of people, they're just become extremely deranged because their whole ideology is falling apart. And you see this in Europe. That's why they're so upset with the whole Ukrainian thing, because their whole idea of a global homo system is just crashing. They're seeing that everything they believed in, that, oh, all people are exactly the same. They're finding, no, that's not true. And they're, oh, men and women are exactly the same. They're finding that's not true. It's all falling apart for them. And so they're really lashing out because this is their religion. And people said, oh, you're trapped in the wrong body. And, they get their dick cut off. And then they're like, well, wait a minute. People aren't really thinking I'm a girl. So they blame people like Charlie Kirk then. K-Max, Rams, your view of how Elon Musk has been throughout all this. His buying X and tweeting has finally buried the mainstream media. Yeah, Elon Musk, I'm never going to counter signal. He's done a lot of good things. And I get it. There's been some things I haven't been a big fan with Elon Musk. I remember last Christmas, I got really pissed off about the H-1B visa stuff with him, which was funny because he got screwed in his company by some Chinese guy, stole all his AI secrets. It's kind of funny, really. So, yeah, Elon Musk, I'm not 100% on with, but on balance, I really do admire what the man has done. And so that's how we have to look at it. Most people aren't perfect, but what Elon Musk has done, I give him kudos for that. Let's see. Democrats interrupted the movement of silence for Kirk in the House of Representatives. Scum. Did they? I have no doubt. I mean, they're very violent people. This is what we got to do. We got to understand they're not our people. They're enemies. They're enemies. We're in a war. May not be a traditional civil war like in 1860. It's more like the Ireland with the Troubles or Spain, but we are. And we have to understand these people are the enemy. So that's how they'll behave. We shouldn't consider them fellow Americans. I don't. I consider them the enemy combatants. Dr. Sniffs a lot. R.A.P. Charlie Kirk. Yeah, poor Charlie. I hate to see what happened there. That just bugs me what happened to Charlie. So let me see here if I'm not surprised what the Democrats do. And you'll see a lot of the leftists mocking his death. And just take it in. Take it in. Necro Dancer, I am not woke. I am tired. Yeah, I'm tired of a lot of things. A lot of us has fatigue about this, and that is horrible. Stephanie Lewis, $3 super sticker. Thank you. And there's a lot of fatigue here. Here it is. Necrodance, did you know some directed energy weapons can be fueled by pure hatred? The more you know. Again, hatred is not necessarily a bad thing. God hates. God hates sin. God hates evil. We are commanded to hate evil too. And I hate evil, and that's good. Let me see. This is KMax, $20. Thank you, KMax. Great to see you. When Martin Luther King was assassinated, mass riots ensued. Well, they act different than us. We're different people. When the right from Ashley Babbitt to Trump to now Charlie Kirk, nothing. Yet here CNN and they claim all political violence comes from the right and not the left. CNN's the enemy. We need to stop worrying about what they say. I mean, so it'd be like during World War II, what the Japanese media was saying. Why would we worry about that? They're the enemy. They're just to be destroyed. And that's how we have to look at it. We do act in a different way. And that's not bad. It really isn't bad. I don't want our people to, when stuff like this happens, to burn down a Wendy's or loot a liquor store or steal tennis shoes like that one community does. We need to act better, but not weaker. We got to act stronger than they do. We got to put more fear into them. But you do that through organizing and directing things together as a community, not just one-off acts of violence. So that's my message there. Necrodancer, the pyramid isn't really the best geometry. It's just mid. It was common back in the ancient times because it has a good base, and that's why they built it back then. Deranged killers are monsters, not mentally ill. In 07 Rams. I don't really believe most of that mentally ill stuff, and I don't really care anymore about that. It doesn't interest me. Whatever, if you can't function in society, then you're a genetic dead end and you need to be removed ruthlessly from society. Ruthlessly. We don't need a whole explanation or whatever. That's my take on that. Let me see if I got everyone here. Thank you for all this. Okay, I think I got it all. Yeah, it's been it's good to be able to vent with everyone, and I do appreciate that. And let me make sure. Let me go through the early ones because I want to make sure I didn't miss any, because I always feel bad when I miss something or think that. But I think I got it all. Lester Johnson, 1999. Thank you, Rams. No, thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here, so we can kind of this cart is good for us to kind of talk about this as a community and how we go forward and how we feel about things. And I think that's a good thing here. So let me see here. I think I got everything there. And it's going to be crazy because I'm always going to be looking at my Twitter feed to see if they caught the guy or what's happening. And usually I would be doing my video tonight, the top 5 news stories, and I'll go back to that. But I'm like, there's no way I can do, it'd be weird. I couldn't do a story about, let's take a look. The Supreme Court is going to listen to Trump's tariffs. I mean, this is so different. This is so more important than that. Or even Ukraine. I couldn't go over that stuff. There's a lot of stuff interested in Ukraine, the war, but this is more important right now, at least for us Americans. And I think even more than Americans, I think a lot of other people are seeing this as very important too. And so that is definitely the case here. And let me just refresh this. All right. So that's, I think, got tied up here. Let's see. The left retort is bringing up J6. Yeah, J6. That is so ridiculous. In some ways, I don't even care what the left says anymore. They're the enemy. I don't care. I mean, they don't really care about debates. They just care about killing. So whatever. They chose it. That's where they want to go. They want to go that route. They made that clear. So, okay. That's the way you guys want to do it. It's not the way I wanted it, but that's how they want it. So, okay. I think I'm about done here. But guys, thank you so much. We had a good crowd tonight. Thank you for being here. And guys, be careful, guys. And life is short. It really is. You never know when you may go. There's a Z-Man went away, Charlie Kirk. And as I get older, I see that more and more. You just got to really love life when you have it. And always do right, do the right thing, and risk the consequences. And that's what Charlie Kirk did. He did what he thought he was right. He was brave. He spoke his mind. He wasn't acting in a way that alienated people. And I admire him for that. He made a difference. And we all die in life, even if you live to be 100 years old. I'm telling you, it goes quick. So it doesn't, you want to live longer, but it goes quick either way. And I think at the end of the game, you want to think, what change did I have on the world? Because the world is all about struggle. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about this. Maybe I'll write a book called My Struggle. I thought about that is whatever we do eventually will disappear. But the whole thing of life, if you think about it, even to the old days, caveman days, was to struggle, to move forward, to get life, and just little things like if you maintain your property, but if you ever stop, the nature just overtakes it so quick. I have a road like that, and it's amazing how quick it is. So you got to constantly struggle, and the struggle eventually is gonna, you're gonna lose because you'll die and the house will fall down eventually. But that's part of life, is just doing the best every day you can. And that's why you get up and try to shower, shave, and try to do everything I can, even if you don't feel like it. It's a struggle, but that's why I think God put us here, is to go through the struggle. And even when we go struggling through life, trying to eat healthy and do certain things, we're still going to die, but that's part of the struggle. And that's the way I think it is what we're in. We're in a struggle, and it's hard, but it's always been hard for our people and other people. And is that the real Sam Hyde? Hey, Sam Hyde, love your work, by the way. Um, it's a it's that's what we go through, a struggle, and we shouldn't expect that we uh, not have to do that. So don't get dismayed by it. Let me just take a look here. I got a text here from Sam. Oh, Rich Mountain gave $100. Thank you, Rich Mountain. I'm sorry I didn't see that, Rich Mountain. Let me just see this right here. Sasha just tweeted that, so thank you very much, Rich Mountain. Let me just that was a very generous donation, Rich Mountain. It's a little different, I'm not one of those people that have a fancy staff or anything. I'm my whole staff, so sometimes I miss a super chat, and I feel really bad when I do. But Rich Mountains gave $100, so thank you, Rich Mountains. He's a great supporter. I really do appreciate you. So, guys, don't get despondent. I guess my final wrap up message is: it's okay to be angry. It is. Direct that anger into a productive way. Don't direct it into something that's not productive. That's what they do, but we're better than them. We are better than them. So don't do that. Direct it in a productive way, but don't be passive. Don't be weak. Understand that we're in a struggle. We're in a fight. We're in a war. It's not a war we chose, but they chose it, but we will finish the war, and we can be able to have a new society eventually, that where people don't get stabbed in the neck because they just happen to be sitting on the bus, or people can speak their minds without being shot in the neck, right? Because we won't have the people that do those sort of things. They won't be among us. They will be elsewhere. Maybe they will be under the ground, but they're not going to be here. And that's got to be our struggle. That's how we have to face it. And we've always had a struggle with our people, our everything. Our ancestors from the caveman days had a struggle. Life's a struggle, man. But that's just the way it is. So keep positive about that. Keep directive. Focus your anger. Never forgive these people for what they've done. Show them no mercy. Show them no weakness. Be ruthless to them. What we propose, do not back down when they try to shame you. Always remember the Ukrainian girl. Always remember Charlie Kirk. Always remember that. Let that drive you forward. So thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I will talk to you guys later.